The newest wave of Dollar Tree comics has arrived. What you see here are all 50 issues that I know of anyway of the June 2026 wave of DC Dollar Tree comics. Did a previous video about this, which I'll have a link to in the description, describing the and showing most of the issues of the previous waves. There have been 5 waves starting in December 2024, and then the most recent wave was in March 2026. And there were like 21 comics released in the March wave, at least that I know of. And so I thought maybe that was the end. They weren't going to do this anymore. But I found out that earlier this month, June 2026, time of recording, there was a new wave of them. And just by looking on eBay and Facebook and things like that, I managed to cull together a list of which comics were part of this new wave. And it turns out there were 50 of them. So a couple weeks ago, I'd gone to several Dollar Tree stores actually, and didn't see any of them. But today, I happened to go to one Dollar Tree store, and they had all of them. And it's probably because they had just put out the box or something like that. They come in a blue cardboard stand, usually near the front of the store. And they had about 3 or 4 copies of each of these 50 issues. And they only had this wave. They didn't have any previous waves amongst the releases, which was unusual. Usually you'll have, a mixture of previous waves along with the new wave. I've been buying them for a collector who is going to reimburse me for these copies. Now, that's why they're not opened. I still have them sealed because he wants them sealed. I did buy 7 copies for myself that I did open up, and I'll show those to you in a moment. Most of these are Batman and Superman releases, primarily Batman. The other thing is I've put them all in numerical order according to the barcode. So you'll see there, the last 5 numbers of the barcode, it says 39831. The next one is 39832. And then the next one is 39833. So they go up to like 89901, and then there's about 21 gaps. There's like, it goes in numerical order, but there are some missing issues in there. That doesn't mean that there's necessarily missing issues floating around out in Dollar Trees. It just means that they may have skipped over that particular number. As far as I know, there's only 50 issues as part of this current wave, but I could be wrong. So anyways, we'll run through all these real quick. Batman Ghost Stories, number 1. Most of these are issues that comics that came out like about 10 years ago, and most of them aren't of any particular interest for me. I'm not that crazy about the selection of this current wave because a lot of them aren't very new. Like, so say something like Trinity, they have a bunch of these Trinity issues, and that was a series like from 10 years ago or so. And so this would actually be like Trinity number 9 or 8 or whatever, but they've just titled them all number 1 and just added the title of the issue as the subtitle of the comic. So this is just random issues from the series Trinity. Batman 89 Echoes, number 1. This is a little more recent. Then you go back a ways for Batman and Aquaman. And on my blog, I have a list of all these issues, these 50 issues, and I say where they're actually from. What comic they're actually reprinting. Batman and Robin, Robin Rises. Batman and Wonder Woman. So something like this, I think, is actually an issue of Batman and Robin, one of the various, series titled Batman and Robin, but they've just retitled it Batman and Wonder Woman for that issue. The Brave and the Bold with the Atom. Another Brave and the Bold. The Adventures Continue Season 3. Adventures Continue Season 2. Justice League Endless, number 1. This is by Brian Hitch. And so that's one of the ones that I actually got opened. Here, I'm going to set these aside. Actually, I'll leave this one out. Actually, I'll put that with it. Put these in a box over here so they're out of the way. So here's what you can see what one is actually like. As I've mentioned before in my previous video, they're on like thinner paper, like the cover stock is a lot thinner. They have this ad for heroicdeals.com. And like in a lot of the previous waves, they've gotten rid of the ads, the original ads inside. I had pointed out in some of the recent waves, like the March 2026 wave, they kept the original ads. They even had the original UPC numbers on them. But for this one, they went back to the style where they got rid of all the original ads. And so there's no ads in here. But then, oddly enough, they added a backup. Since their main story is only like 20 pages, they added this 8-page Superman backup story from Superman Red and Blue issue number 3, which I think is like from 2021. And so it's just it's sort of a bonus, Superman Red and Blue short story added to the back for some reason of this Justice League comic, which I think is a pretty cool thing because, set that aside. The next one here in the numerical sequence is Justice League Legacy, which I also bought a copy of for myself and opened up. And this one is written by Brian Hitch and drawn by Claire Passarin, I think is his name, or Fernando Passarin and Claire Albert. They're the penciling and inking team that currently does Green Lantern Corps, and I think they're fabulous. They do an excellent artwork. So that's why I bought this. And it's the same deal. No ads inside. All the original ads have been removed. And then you have a 8-page short story from Superman Red and Blue number 3 added to the back of the story as sort of a little bonus. So that's kind of cool, I think. All right, we'll set that aside. And we'll go through some more of these here. Let's see. So we have Justice League Invasion of the Supermen, Justice League Cold War, Justice League The Rule of War, Justice League State of Fear. So that's it for the Justice League ones. Now we're going to go into the Superman family stories. Again, so we are still following that barcode serial number. So you see this one says 39864. This is a reprint of a Supergirl comic from like almost 10 years ago. And then you have 39865, which is a reprint of a Rebirth era Supergirl, number 1. And then you have 39867. So I think they skipped 866 for some reason. So now you have Superman Multiplicity, which is just a story from a Superman series from like 10 years ago. Dark Harvest, maybe a little less. Brains versus Brawn. So ordinarily those would have had, number 45 or number 38 or whatever, but they've just changed it to number 1 and then just given it the title of the story title on the cover. So that one's called Superman Declaration, Superman A Minute Longer, and these are all $1.25. The sticker is just printed on the bag. It's not even actual real sticker, it's just actually printed on the bag. Superman Breaking Point, Superman Imperious Lex, Superman Super Sons of Tomorrow. A lot of these are drawn by Patrick Gleason. For some reason, he's the one that they have a lot of stories by him in here. Escape from Dinosaur Island. And these, I think, all they are part of a similar storyline or around the same period. And this one's Superman Action Comics Revenge. I bought a copy for myself because I noticed it said Dan Jurgens and Patrick Zurcher. Jurgens wrote it and Zurcher drew it, and I'm a fan of their work, so I thought, well, I'll get this myself. And again, as you can see, just like before, all the interior ads have been removed, or just, and then they've added an ad or a preview for Absolute Wonder Woman. So this didn't appear in the original comic when it was originally released. I can show the indicia here so you can see if I can find it actually. Does this one even have an indicia? But it'll say something like, you know, I think it's at the back. There it is. See if I can pull that up. So it's the 2026 edition, June 2026. Printed, it says on the bottom there, right above where it says Topaz, which is the distributor. 320, it looks like. 3/20/26. So this was printed in March 2026. It's for June 2026. But like I said, it's an old comic. You know, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that, and maybe less. And with an absolute Wonder Woman preview added to the back. Now you'll see later they have other ones like absolute Batman preview at the back. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but anyway, so we're continuing here the numbers. Batman and Red Robin. This one's interesting because the original cover of this one was a wraparound, or a sort of a fold-out cover. So it was just Batman here, and then you would open it up, and the inside cover would fold out, and you'd have Robin in here. But for this reprint, they've just put it all on one image, and then they've added these black bars to it and just called it Batman and Red Robin #1. Here's Hush 2. I do have the original of this. I didn't bother to bring it out though, but you know, the original does not have that ad on the back, and so that's Hush 2. You know, that makes sense to reprint. It was a recent comic, so that's sort of a, you know, that one is, I think, makes more sense to put out. Some of these ones I don't understand why they're really putting them out, because they're like from 10 years ago or whatever. I don't think there's much demand for Rebirth era DC, but that's what they're doing. This one is the oldest one of this current wave. This one is, I think, from like 1990 or 1989, something like that. An issue of Batman. The funny thing is like it does have that $4.99 cover price, which, you know, is not what it would sell for ever. In fact, I do have that one in here too. I can pull that out of the bag. So it looks like this one is actually sort of reprinted from a trade paperback edition. I just get that feeling that it's not really from the original comic book version. And see how it says to be concluded in Batman: A Death in the Family on sale now. So that's sort of the plug for the trade paperback, I think. And then you have this ad for Absolute Batman sort of added to the back of it, which is kind of, like I said, a bit odd. There's the indicia. If that shows up, I don't know, it's kind of blurry. So you can get a look at the dates on this. Whoa. Like I said, this cover is really flimsy. It's same paper quality as a interior page. All right, so that's that one. So that was probably the most interesting, I thought, simply because it was the oldest one. But, you know, then you have these ones that are a little less interesting to me. Batman, Superman, Planet Brainiac. Batman, R.I.P. Batman, Superman, The Archive of Worlds, which is just simply the title of that particular issue. Atomic. Batman and Two-Face. And I did get this one as well. I bought it for myself. Now let's take a quick look at it. And so they have these heroicdeals.com ads, which is like a site that you can buy some of these comics at, although I think went for much more than $1.25. And again, you have this ad for Absolute Batman at the back of it, which, you know, originally ran in DC Comics at the time when Absolute Batman first appeared. But now it's sort of plugging the Volume 1, the first book in the series. So that's that. As you can see, there's a lot of Batman as part of this wave. And then we have these Batman Dark Patterns, which came out like a year ago or so. I did buy those for myself as well. So you can open up one of these here. Again, so there's the Dollar Tree back cover, Batman Dark Patterns, Voice of the Tower, and so this would originally be like Batman Dark Patterns number 8 or something like that. And so it has that Heroic Deals ad, and there's no ads at all. They've removed the ads, and then they put an ad for Absolute Wonder Woman number 1 at the back of it. And again, it's sort of a plug for the trade paperback, the first edition of the trade paperback. All right, and let's see here. And then finally, these are the last few. We're at number 39891 right now. Batman Gotham Adventures, the oldest one in the book. Batman Gotham Adventures The End, which is, the cover looks funny. It's a parody of Mad Number 1 from like 1953 or 52, whatever year that came out. And then, so this one is 39892, and then you skip ahead like 8 numbers to 39901. And this is the last one that I know of from the current wave. So there's that back cover. Batman Gates of Gotham number 1 by Scott Snyder. So that's all 50 issues that I know of from the current June 2026 wave of Dollar Tree comics. As far as I know, they're just available at Dollar Tree stores, but they might be available at other places. Sometimes these things show up at, Circle K convenience stores with like different prices on them, like $3.99 or $3.29 instead of $1.99 or $1.25 rather. Not every Dollar Tree store has them. It's really hit and miss. I don't know what the criteria is for why some stores have them and why some don't. There's not really much in the way of official announcements about, a new wave has reached Dollar Tree stores. It's just sort of one of those things where you'll see people posting on social media, hey, there's these Dollar Tree comics, and collectors of them will suddenly be like, hey, I haven't seen this one before, and you look in the indicia and it says, June 2026 is brand new. It hasn't appeared as before. So it's just one of those things. If you have, I don't think they're worth a lot of money or anything like that, or really any money. They're just $1.25. When I was buying them today, some other customer was like, oh, those collector's items? I was like, no, I don't think so, because they're only $1.25. Although you sometimes see some of these sell on eBay for like $15, I don't know why, but maybe just somebody needs them for their collection, or they're, people advertise them as Dollar Tree variants. They are variants. They are reprints, though. And they're just sort of aimed at, the general audience, maybe trying to, get people to try out comics. If they don't go to comic shops, they'll have a way of checking out a comic. So anyways, I just want to let everyone know there's a new wave of Dollar Tree comics, June 2026. The old waves are gone as far as I know, unless there might be some still in some of those shipper cardboard display boxes. But I didn't see any today. And this is actually the first Dollar Tree store that I've seen any of the June 2026s. Like I said, last week I went to about 5 or so Dollar Tree stores. I went to the same Dollar Tree store like 2 weeks ago, and they didn't have any comics whatsoever. So I think it's, some of the stores are taking some time to bring these issues in, or to unbox them and put them out on the floor. So just keep checking them out, and eventually you'll see them. If there's any of these that you think, I want to get that issue, then now's the time. So anyway, that's the latest update on the Dollar Tree comics. And if they have any more coming out, any future waves, I'll try to make a video about that to let people know. That's it from me. Thanks for watching.